Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a reading for Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or if you have any other significant Aries placements, there may be a message in here for you. So Aries, to get started with your reading, I'm getting a very strong Leo energy that keeps wanting to come into your reading. So you may want to watch the last Leo reading, although it feels more like, because I'm not even remembering what that reading is about. And if it's relevant, usually like the title will come in or that kind of thing. It feels, so it could be that you're dealing with a Leo or that Leo energy is significant to you in some way. Or maybe it's something about Leo season, like last August or which was only a few weeks ago. But maybe it's something like that. And there was a very strong energy message that was coming through for you of like needing to enforce a boundary, Leo, Aries. Maybe it's towards a Leo. Like maybe you have to enforce like a very strong boundary here with a Leo being like, okay, like this is not your reading, Leo. Like it's kind of coming through like that or whatever. That's just an example. Like this is not, I don't know. There's something like that where it's like there's something trying to come into your space that's like it's not the right time, or it's like you had your turn already, or it's like kind of coming through like that, Aries, for you. So it's like just pay attention to that. Another message that was coming through with that is that so I feel like there might be like a range of experiences that this could be with. So if for example you're meeting somebody new, right? Like, or you're getting to know somebody, there's a new friend or new coworkers or whatever, and it's kind of like as you're getting to know them, like someone maybe oversteps a boundary that you have, for example, not on purpose, not to make you angry or anything like that. It's just like they didn't know that this was a boundary that you have, and so there comes the work of like having to explain that this is a boundary, like this is something that, you know, whatever that you're dealing with, and that it made you uncomfortable or whatever. So having to establish a boundary could be one thing. And so there may be situations like that for you where you're having to establish a boundary with like new people or whatever who didn't know that there was a boundary there, for example. Another situation, though, which is coming through a bit more extreme, is that there is somebody who knows that there's a boundary there, but they are purposely overstepping it. Or that they're like ignoring it completely, or like disregarding the fact that you've set a boundary or that kind of thing. So now comes the work of enforcing that boundary, being like, no, there's a boundary here. You cannot cross this boundary. You cannot take something that's not yours. You cannot blah, 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 whatever it is for you. Like, this is the boundary and I'm enforcing it. So just take the message how it resonates for you. There may be a range of experiences that this could cover. But I did pull animal cards for you before I started filming. So at the bottom of the deck, we have the Scorpion. And this card talks about like someone who's very passionate, but sometimes their passion sort of gets in the way of like remembering that other people have boundaries and needs, and like you can't always be pushing forward all the time. Like that's why this energy feels kind of like it can vary from like, okay, this is a new person they didn't know, having compassion, explaining like, okay, we need to pause here, or we need to stop, or whatever. Like that kind of thing. That could be a very positive interaction of like getting to know someone. This could also be someone though who's just like always pushing forward, has no regard for other people's energy or like that kind of thing, and they're just always just like aggravated is the word that's coming through with this. Anyway, that's the bottom of the deck energy. And your first card here, Aries, was the Panther. And so how it's looking on the table today is like this, right? Like the Panther is facing down this Scorpion who's coming through as being like someone who has crossed a boundary. And the Panther is an energy of like doing shadow work. But for me, this card comes through as being like when your shadow becomes activated in order to protect oneself. So again, a range of experiences in terms of the intensity of how this can play out for you. Where like the simplest example would be like, okay, there's somebody new. They don't know this about you. Here's the boundary. And just letting that person know in a calm, compassionate, gentle manner, like, pause. This is something that you need to be aware of. Please respect my privacy or my space or whatever. Like that kind of thing. Simple, easy, no problems. And ideally the person would say, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know that was a boundary. And they'll respect that space, right? Like that kind of thing. I feel like for some of you, Aries, this might be a recurring problem, is how it's coming through, because it's feeling like, so if it's not like the same person, right? Like if it's not the same person who's repeatedly, overstepping a boundary that you've set, which it could be. Another example of this could be like a similar pattern of people. So it could be like a similar pattern of people, which is coming through as being like people that you might have trauma bonding with, like that kind of thing, or like a similar pattern of people like that, or whatever it is, because I feel like there is something here of like, this feels kind of like a recurring pattern for you, like repeatedly letting in the wrong people, like that kind of thing, or repeatedly like, I don't know, repeatedly sounds really harsh, but like it feels kind of like it's a familiar story or familiar pattern that you in the past have allowed people to overstep a boundary that you have without any regard, like for whatever reason. And usually that comes through trauma bonding, right? Like trauma bonding is something that can develop in like, there's codependency, which also talks to me about like a lack of boundaries, like a lack of appropriate individual boundaries, because there's enmeshing of trauma, right? Like that kind of thing. So anyways, Aries, for you, I do feel like this is something that you are overcoming, because the next cards that you have out here, the next card was Tarantula. So this card talks about a crossroads. It is something where I feel like there is something here that's like kind of putting you on alert for whatever reason. And I feel like it is because like someone has crossed a boundary, or someone has, and again, it doesn't have to be malicious, right? Like I feel like there is something here where it may not be. That's the thing. There'll be a range of experiences in how this relates to you. It may not be something malicious. It may not be something where somebody's like being, I don't know, whatever. It just feels kind of like it feels like for most of you, it's going to be like you're like getting to know someone. This person didn't know that this was a boundary that you have. And so it's kind of like having to explain something and clarify something, or to like clear the air, or be honest about whatever it is that's making you uncomfortable, because this combination is coming through as discomfort, right? Like this is coming through as being like you may be feeling triggered by something, like your shadow is getting activated, or something about this dynamic is like putting you on alert. And it's coming through as the scorpion is causing that. Like this sort of, like the scorpion to me talks about like someone who has like so much fire that they push ahead, right? There's a lot of passion, a lot of determination, but that the pushing ahead might not be what's needed. So it's kind of coming through like there's a need for a pause or stop, or like a break, or something like that, where it's, or distance or space temporarily is kind of how it's coming through. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. It doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be angry. Because I feel like the Panther sometimes comes in with that energy. It doesn't have to be that, though. It could just be something like when the shadow is integrated, when the shadow is part of you, and loved and nourished and given space, it is protective, right? It protects you, or protects your energy, Aries. And so I do feel like there is that aspect of like protecting your energy or protecting yourself from something that could potentially be like an energy of like they're overstepping, or they're pushing forward too much when that's not what's needed, or like anyways, I don't want to repeat myself, but I feel like there's something like that for you. The tarantula, it is okay. Hold on, let's read what that one says. Yeah, claiming life's purpose at a crossroad. The tarantula represents a moment when a great decision must be made. It involves prioritizing your life's deeper purpose or dharma. A habit or routine from the past is sidetracking you from your dream, yet a voice inside keeps begging you to refocus your intention. In order to find true happiness, you must choose dharma. Until you do, satisfaction will be fleeting. The tarantula hovers, patient and calm, like an old friend that knows your inner soul. It already knows you'll choose wisely. Yeah. It's about following your intuition when out of balance, hesitates, or over intellectualizes, to bring into balance daily journaling. Okay, so it is about claiming life's purpose, and I feel like this is something where this decision feels kind of like, it feels like a decision, or this action maybe there is an action of like having to enforce a boundary. Really feels strongly like it's that is part of claiming your life's purpose, because the cards that are coming through next, these two cards came out together. You have Vulture and the Hawk, and the Vulture card talks about cleansing something, like taking a toxin and purifying it from the environment so that it no longer has an effect in the environment. It's cleansing a toxin. So that might be part of the like effect for you, is kind of like let's say in the scenario where this is a repeated problem where someone has crossed a boundary and maybe you've allowed it to happen, or maybe you weren't good at enforcing that boundary or whatever, or maybe there was like a need to improve your to improve how you are enforcing a boundary, let's say. And it's kind of like you can't like, I'm trying to think of an example of this. Maybe there was some sort of toxin, metaphorically, that entered into your energy or your space that is now needing to go through like a purification process because of that. But it's like if the toxin keeps getting reintroduced into your energy, then you have to keep purifying it. That's how it's coming through. So it's like if you keep allowing the toxin to infiltrate into a boundary, it becomes like a never-ending cycle, right? Like that's how it's coming through. So I feel like this energy here is really strongly saying no to something that is a toxin to you, is not good for you, or has repeatedly put burden on you, or that kind of thing. And from there, it's like you cleanse out the toxin with the Vulture, And then you have the hawk, which the hawk comes through as a symbol of spirit, right? It's a messenger of spirit. It also talks to me about guidance and like showing you that you are on the right path. There's some sort of message coming in for you. And what I see here is that like all of these cards are facing the scorpion, right? Like including the tarantula, even though I know that that one doesn't really have a direction to it, but these ones are facing the scorpion. And then the hawk is facing the other way, right? Like it's kind of coming through, like the scorpion is here, the hawk is facing the other way. So I feel like maybe there is something from the past that is coming back around, or maybe there is something from the past that's coming back around, and it's like firmly saying no to that, cleansing it, and then moving forward with your life. Like that's how it's coming through. The hawk says, watchful, all-seeing messenger of divinity. The sharp eyes of the hawk watch our every move. This keen-eyed bird has the ability to see every little detail, as well as the bigger picture. When this card appears, fate has its eyes on you, and the winds are shifting. It is said that the hawk carries news upon its wings, and is sent from divinity itself to deliver it. The message should not be taken lightly. Though it may seem small or insignificant, it will eventually redirect your course. Yeah. I do feel like there's some sort of message coming in, Aries. Maybe it's through Leo. The Leo energy doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. But if it's a Leo energy that's out of alignment, it could be. So just take that how it resonates. I'm just going to leave that there. I keep getting Leo. Leo's coming through so strongly. But anyways, what's coming through with this combination of cards is that I feel like part of the lesson for you might be like, once you say no to this thing from the past that is not serving you, you are choosing or claiming life's destiny, right? And that's when the message comes in from the divine. That's how it's coming through for you, Aries. It feels kind of like a turning point, like saying no to something that is not for you. You have the ear, good news. Good news. I do feel like good news is on the way. And then you have dog, protection from a powerful friend. I do feel like there is something here. The scorpion is coming through as being like someone who just doesn't, I don't know. Maybe they have like, we're not supposed to go into that energy. Okay. Doesn't matter. You have protection though. You have protection. You should accept valid criticism. I feel like that has to do with in the past you may have allowed this to happen. It's just how it's coming through. Like you may have allowed someone to cross a boundary and you didn't enforce it, right? Like that kind of thing. So it's kind of like maybe they took advantage of you or whatever, or you gave them access to something that they should never have had access to. Like that, it's kind of coming through like that. But I feel like you have learned that lesson, or you are learning that lesson now. Yeah, something is trying to come between you and a friend or something that you want, a wedge. I do feel like that's part of the thing that's like creating the discomfort. It's like someone is trying to come between you and something that you want. And you have stork. News of a birth or a new business opportunity. It could be something like that. Like it could be, and then you have sunrise, new creative ideas, new ventures, and a fresh start. Someone may be trying to come between you and a new beginning that you have. The stork in the sunrise, that's all of this energy, right? I do feel like, though, for you, it's like the biggest thing is about like rejecting the energy that is no longer for, like, it's rejecting the energy that is overstepping the boundary. Like, that's how it's coming through. This feels like past now. I almost said Leo again. Aries. There is something from the past that is like keeps coming back around. Either it's the same person, or it's a similar pattern of people or relationship dynamics or that kind of thing. And somehow that energy has been keeping you from a new beginning, right? Like, that's how it's coming through, or trying to, at least. Trying to keep you from a new beginning. Okay. You have career and beau. You are highly thought of. I love this beau card. So, good news in your career. You are highly thought of. And then you have yoke, feeling tied down or frustrated, and teapot, deep friendship with someone of the same sex. Okay. And at the bottom of the deck, you have arrow. You are on the right path regarding some aspect of your life. Okay. Maybe there's someone who is trying to come between you and like deep friendship with someone, right? Like, they're trying to come between you and a friend or whatever. And there's a new beginning there. You have a lot of protection, though, is what I'm seeing with this. All of these are really positive cards, but I feel like there may be a bit of frustration about a situation that feels like it's like it can be really frustrating, especially if, like you've in trying to establish a boundary and reinforce and enforce a boundary. But that is part of claiming life's purpose, where there is discomfort in that. But that's part of why integrating your shadow is so important, because the shadow allows you to sit in the discomfort and protect yourself. Yeah, the world. The world card. I do feel like this is completing a major cycle for you. And it's really coming through like integration, right? Like being fully integrated with all aspects of who you are. Especially your shadow is really wanting to come through with the Panther. The shadow, the ability to like digest and process and transmute difficult energies, like that kind of thing. That's when you've achieved the world status of like having integrated or completed some major lesson, maybe. Sorry, those cards flipped out, but I wasn't ready for them. Okay, the world. 5 of Cups, but it's kind of coming out reversed. That feels like the past thing. You have 3 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. So I feel like this is a past thing. This 5 of Cups, it feels like, again, it feels like something where it's like, because this one's so interesting when it's upright. Because it talks to me about like protecting your energy. It actually really does feel, or protecting something that you love. Okay, there's another aspect that was coming in here. If this was a trauma bond, this feels like it's for like one person, so just take it if it resonates, leave it if it doesn't. If this was a trauma bond from the past, this trauma bond was formed by like it was formed through an unhealed or unaccessed inner child energy. So for you, the message that's coming through with this is that, like, part of what you need to protect is your inner child. And that is what I feel like is part of your lesson, is like protecting and listening to your inner child and what your inner child needs. And the energy of the trauma bond or the thing from the past that you need to put up firmer boundaries with is energies that would silence your inner child or abuse your inner child or take advantage of your inner child. And those are things that, like, because the shadow forms as part of, like, traumas that were, like, as a way to protect oneself from the traumas of the inner child. Like, so it feels like inner child is really important here, and protecting your inner child and listening to it and being aware of it, and meeting its needs in a way that's healthy, while also being the responsible adult that you are. Like, I feel like there's something here where, in the past, maybe you didn't listen to your inner child. Maybe harm came to your inner child or whatever, like, because of this trauma bond. So I feel like that is what's changing, or that's where you have learned a significant lesson, or you're doing some healing around that. Ace of Wands. Inspiration. Which is interesting because there's a lot of fire in your reading today, right? You have the Scorpion, you also have the Panther and the Tarantula, which are both fire cards. And the Tarantula is coming through with, like, passion today, because it was talking about claiming life's purpose, and I feel like that's what this is. There is some sort of, like, gift here for you about, like, claiming life's purpose that has to do with, like, passion or inspiration or creativity or whatever it is that this Ace of Wands represents for you. It is worth protecting, is what's coming through here. There is something here that is absolutely worth protecting, and I do feel that you have support in this and protection from a powerful friend, is how it's coming through with the dog. Okay, you have Death and the King of Cups. Because this Death card is coming through as being, like, the Vulture, right? Like, because both of these are coming through with death and rebirth energy. And so Scorpio might have a significant message in there for you. But the Death card and the King, maybe there is literally a Scorpio that's helping you in this process here. This feels like an ally or support. Like, somebody who's helping you in a rebirth is how it's coming through, in a rebirth process. So they don't have to be a Scorpio or have Scorpio in their chart, but that's what they represent. Like, that's the energy that they're coming through with, is this scorpionic kind of energy, which is interesting because you have Scorpio here. But what's underneath that is the golden egg. I feel like there's this process of rebirth that's happening for you. Maybe through another person. They're helping you to transmute some sort of toxin. I do think this person thinks very highly of you. Okay, what is the Hawk? Five of Swords. Interesting. Nine of Pentacles. 10 of Pentacles. The Moon. What's this Five of Swords? The Star. That's a very interesting combination of cards here. And you have High Priestess at the bottom of the deck. Because I feel like what's coming through with the Five of Swords and all this combination of cards is that you, Aries, are reclaiming some sort of narrative. And it feels almost like something where it's like maybe there were rumors. Or maybe there were, like, people talking about you in some way or gossiping about you. And, of course, that, like, those stories became inflated or they were false or, like, there were false embellishments or people projecting their own shit onto you, like, that kind of thing. And it's, like, what I'm seeing here is that you are reclaiming a certain narrative about a situation. Because I feel like, and it feels like reclaiming some sort of independence as well. Because it feels kind of like there was some sort of like codependency that was established in a dynamic, in a group, that's centered around gossip. Or people's opinions about a certain situation or judgments, like that kind of thing. Like it feels like yeah, not good. But I think that you are like, which is interesting because it's like you have that energy of like someone trying to come between you and something that you want, or like between you and deep friendship with someone. And there's frustration there. Like, it feels kind of like, I don't know, like a situation or story where it's like you maybe wanted to be friends with or become close with, or like whatever, with someone, but like there were people in your life who disapproved or who had things to say or would gossip about it or would like spread rumors or like that kind of thing, which is like, just like, why? Like, anyways, so there's frustration about that, but it's kind of like what I'm seeing here for you, Aries, is like you're saying no to that, like really strong no, like that's not acceptable. I'm not going to allow this into my space. I'm not going to allow this to disrupt my peace. I'm not going to allow this to affect my relationships or my happiness or my abundance or my independence or whatever, this new beginning that you clearly have. And it's coming through as reclaiming a certain narrative that others may have put false projections on. That's how it's coming through for you. Okay. And I feel like you are doing the work right now, Aries, of transmuting a certain toxin. So, because it could be something where it's like, especially if it's like a group dynamic where there was gossip or malicious words or opinions that may have affected how you see a certain situation. And that you do have to transmute that in some way or like clear it or work through it so that it doesn't bleed into your experience, right? Like that's how it's feeling. I do feel like you're in the process of that and healing that with the star and the moon coming out here. I do feel like there's something that may be coming up for you at the moment that you are being asked to work with in some way. Like you have to actively transmute something, it feels like. And with the hawk, though, I do feel like there's good news on the way for you about a new beginning. Yeah, resonance. The spinal cord. Or the spinal column, I should say. Resonance is both embodied wisdom and a doorway through which you can travel deeper. Your core energetic resonance, anchored at your coccyx, is your primary guide and your highest truth. This is the resonance you feel in your bones and your soul. Foundational level beliefs, gifts, and wounds come up for you to heal, transmute, and integrate, bringing you further into alignment with this version of yourself. As you refine towards this energetic version of you, your day-to-day resonance is variable, influenced by seasons of healing, aligning, and integrating. It teaches your discernment and alignment to your path, and it teaches you the difference between something that resonates with your core and a passing resonance with an energetic or nervous system state you may be experiencing at the moment. Hold this wisdom loosely and allow it to guide you deeper into yourself until the whole of you is lit up with the vibration only you can transmit, your core energetic resonance. What things have fallen out of resonance and are ready to be shed from my day-to-day life? Resonance asks you to move at the speed of your humanity. What am I currently resonating with, even if it doesn't feel like my highest possible resonance? Interesting. Okay. I do feel like you're clearing something out of your system, Aries. So be patient with that process, because it could be that you are resonating with something at the moment that is not your highest possible resonance, but that you do have to move through this process in order to clear it. And it feels like there is something from the past that's coming back up. That you're being asked to transmute and then shed. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. If this reading resonated with you, please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.